Good morning, Year 5. It's Miss Slater here. And like I said in the English video earlier on today, this week is all about revising and recapping over some things that we've already looked at in school so that you feel confident and ready when you come back on the 8th. Okay. So today's learning objective in maths is to revise rounding. This is a skill in maths that we use a lot to help us estimate if we've got a word problem that involves any kind of estimation. Just as a little start this morning, just to get us in the hang of it, we've got our daily 5 questions for each maths group here. So if you're usually in my class, Miss Slater's class, Mr. Turnbull will be there with you today teaching you. And here are your daily 5 questions, okay? Remember, just as a little reminder, the first question, what is 96 divided by 3? You would use your chunking method. Okay, you've practiced this many times before. Try and remember what that is. If you're in school, maybe Mr. Turnbull could show you. Boys and girls at home, have a real good think about that. And I will put on a picture in some of the resources to help you with that if you're still a little bit stuck. Question number 2, what is 32 multiplied by 3? You can try and do that mentally, or if you are feeling like you can't do that mentally, you can use that method there. Again, apologise for the pen skills here. Doesn't look very neat. Work out 81 divided by 9. So for that one, you just need to know your 9 times tables. And actually, there's a rounding question in there. Round 347 to the nearest 100. If you get finished those questions, I would like you to have a little look at the clock over here and see if you can write the time in digital time there. This is analog on the face of the clock. Digital time is what you see on your watches, on the corner of the screen on the computer. And it's very exact, okay? It's right there, okay? So it's not half past, it's very exact to the minute, that one. Have a go at those questions. If you are in Mr. Turnbull's maths class, if you're in school, you will be with Mrs. Richardson this morning. Have a little go at these questions here. And if you get finished those 4 questions, write down these symbols in Roman numerals in digits, in numbers, okay? So first question, list the 5 multiples of 6. Pretty easy. How many people were in the cafe at 2 p.m.? So looking on this graph here on the right hand side to work out that question. What is 3,624 more than 2,437? And what is the area of this triangle? Remember, when we are using area, we must put the unit of measurement after. So it would be centimetres squared, okay, the small 2 above the M there. So whether you're in Miss Slater's class, my class, or Mr. Turnbull's class, pause the video, have a little go at those questions there. If you are not in school, I will go through those answers on the next video. And if you are in school, you can mark those with the teacher that is in your classroom. Off you go, pause the video. Okay, so just a quick quiz. To get started, let's see how well you know this topic already. Take this quiz below. So whilst we're going through the quiz, remember it's all about what you know, what you can remember. If you're in school, don't worry about the person sitting next to you. Don't bother looking behind and copying. Try and think about what you know. Okay, so you might just know one of them really well. You might have completely forgotten, which for today's lesson will be really important for you. You might be a whiz at it, and hopefully some of the challenges will stretch you a little bit today. So first one, we've got what is 786 rounded to the nearest 100. This first one, I'm going to talk through my thought processes. So I know I've got to round to the nearest 100. So I'm going to have 2 zeros, or with 3 in my answer. And I'm in 700, so I know the 100 after 700 is 800. I look at my tens place value column, the one to the right of the 100. And I know that I've got to round that up. The 8 is telling me I've got to round it up to 800. Okay, next one. So this time I've got a 4-digit number and I've got to round it to the nearest 10. What is 8,729 rounded to the nearest 10? So I've got either 8,720, that's the 10 I'm in. The 10 after will be 8,730. what is the ones column telling me to do? Write your answer down on a piece of paper. I'll show you the answers at the end. Third question, can you round 5,733 to the nearest thousand this time? So I'm in 5,000, 6,000 is the thousand after. I look at the hundreds column, what's that telling me to do? Next one, what is 7,861 rounded to the nearest 10? So we've got, I'm in 7,860, or am I going around it? 7,870. What is this one telling me to do? And last question before the answers, we've got, can you round 5,477 to the nearest 100 this time? So I've got either 5,400 or 5,500. What is the 7 in the tens column telling me to do this time? Okay, so let's go back through and have a little look at some of these answers. Hopefully I've given you enough time. Haven't whizzed through that too quickly. I'll just give you another minute, well, not even a minute, 10 seconds or so to go through and look at those answers. So remember, just on your whiteboard, you've got 786, the estimation symbol rounded to the nearest 100 would be 800. Okay. So use the little estimation symbol there. Right. This question, 8,729 rounded to the nearest 10 would be 8,730. Notice I've only got 1 0 at the end of my answer there. Then we've got, can you round 5,733 to the nearest 1,000? A lot of people find these ones a lot easier because they don't have to think about any of the starting numbers here. So here we've got 8, 7, 3, and then only 1 0. Here you're just rounding to the nearest 1,000. So the hundreds column there, the 7, is telling me to round up to the next 1,000, which is 6,000. 7,861 rounded to the nearest 10. So I'm staying at 7,860, or am I going up to 7,870? So the 1 is telling me that I'm staying with 7,860. Last one, can you round 5,477 to the nearest 100? So 5,400 or 5,500. The 7 is telling me I need to round up. Okay, so if you are in school, you can click on the link and you just need to scroll down a little bit on the web page that it takes you to and watch the video that looks like this here. It says learn about rounding numbers to the nearest 10, 100 and 1,000 with Albert and his jar of sweets. Okay, so watch the video and then come back to the PowerPoint here or the video on YouTube if you're watching it there. There are some other videos on there as well, but just don't watch them at this moment in time. Go watch the video, please. Okay, so within the video, it taught us a very important rule for rounding. Always look at the digit to the right of the one you are supposed to be rounding to. Okay, so if I'm rounding to the nearest 10, I look at my ones column. If I'm rounding to the nearest 100, I look at my tens column. If I'm rounding to the nearest 1,000, I look at my hundreds column. Okay, so let's look at the rule and remind ourselves. If it is 5 or more, then round it up. If it is 5 or less, you round it down. Now, sometimes when we're in class, we get rid of this language down because often people go to the 10 below. I like to think of it as staying in the place value that you're either in or what you are rounding up to. Okay, so one either stays that or you round up to the next, either 10, 100 or 1,000. Okay, so over these next few slides, I'm just going to give you a couple of examples. The first one is round 1,289 to the nearest 10. So first of all, remember what it said on the previous slide. Look at the digit to the right of the number that you're rounding up to. So if I'm rounding to the nearest 10, I look at the ones digit, which in this case is 9. 9 is greater than 5, so you round up. Now below here we've got a number line, and this is really important. When you think about this, you can jot them down or you can draw your own number line. Don't worry about all of the numbers in the between. If you're drawing your number line, it'll take too long. But the two at either end of your number line are the crucial, really important ones. So I've got 1,280, that's the 10 that I'm in, 1,280, and the 10 after that is 1,290. So if I place 1,289 on that number line, that is closer to 1,290. So I round up to that 10. Okay, next example here. Round 2,233 to the nearest 100. So if I'm rounding to the nearest 100, what digit do I need to look at? Tell yourself. So I'm rounding to the nearest 100, so I have to look in my tens column. And the digit that is in there is 3. Okay, so I know that I've got to round down. But round down to what? Use that number line to help. So I'm looking at the 100. So the first number I write down on my number line is 2,200. What is the 100 after 2,200? Well, that is 2,300. Think about the placement of my number on there. I know that 3 is closer to 2,200 than 2,300. So I'm staying in the 100 that I'm in. Next one, round 5,432 to the nearest 1,000. Remember to look at the hundreds digit this time. So again, we've got our number line, 5,000 and 6,000. The 4 is telling me to round down or stay in the 1,000 that I'm in. Okay, so those steps to success, just as a little reminder from the examples there. Feel free to come back to this page or some of the examples when you come on to write your answers on your worksheets, and that will help you. So decide what you're rounding to. So you need to look at the column to the right. Draw a number line, and remember those two important numbers, the one that you are in, whether you're rounding the nearest 10, 100 or 1,000, and the next either 10, 100 or 1,000. Look at the place value column to the right of the number of the place that you're rounding to. You're either staying or rounding up, thinking where would that number lie in between the number line. Okay, so if I'm rounding to the nearest 10, I've got a few numbers here. What would be the two missing digits on my first number line here? This first number line here, 99. What are the two missing numbers? So what 10 am I in? Have a think. If you're in class, put your hand up. If you're at home, you could write these numbers on a piece of paper to have a little practice. So the 10 that I'm in is 90. What is the next 10 afterwards? Just changing my pen. So we've got 90. The 10 after, if I add another 10 on, is 100 this time. Okay, and what is 99 closest to? Next one, I've got 105. What is the 10 that I'm in? It is 100. And the 10 after, just add another 10 on, is 110. What 10 am I in here? 67. I'm at 60. Add another 10 on will give me 70. This time I've got a 4-digit number here in the thousands, but again I still only want to round to the nearest 10. So what 10 am I in? Some people, I just see write this, 70, and they forget about the rest of the number. So in actual fact it is 1,870, 1,870, not just 70. So if I add another 10 to that, it will be 1,880. So what is it closer to? Remember, I look at my ones column, the 5 is closer, I round it up to this number here, 1,880. 67 rounds to the 70, and 105 rounds to 110. Okay, if you are in green group, you are just rounding to the nearest 10, and the numbers only go up to as high as 1,000. So remember that rule from the previous page. I want to see you drawing number lines on a piece of paper to help you, flicking back through to the rules and how I did it on some of those examples there. Okay, good luck. Off you go. And the other groups, red and purple, well, you've got to switch between the three. So we've got rounding to the nearest 10, 100 or 1,000. Okay, you'll notice it's on the pages on the Word document. If you are working from Teams, you've got the first page, but you can't actually write on it because they aren't text boxes. So on the second page, this is how I want to see it setting out. There's an example for you there. 19 rounded to the nearest 10 will be 20, and you need to keep typing underneath. The next number will be 22 equals, the next number will be 83, and so on, working your way through for each section there. So this section, you would type it in the rounding to the nearest 100, and the last section, you would type it into there. And here are some challenges for you to have a look at around rounding. If you are working from home, you can just type in your answers. If you are in school, you can just write straight on to the worksheet here and give me your answers on the line. Okay, so quick recap. Use the rounding examples at the start of the video that I showed you. Remember the rule, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Stay either in the 10, 100, or 1,000 that you are in. And if it's 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, you round up to the next 10, 100, or 1,000. Use a number line. It really helps. Okay? Have a good go at that, boys and girls, and I look forward to seeing your work. Good luck.